Okay, so I'm back. One thing that I forgot to do that was really important in our stuffing is I forgot to put in half an onion. So have a look here. I just gotta click this switch over. And you can see that there's onion in there, right? Very important. We want the moisture from the onion and the caramelization from that to come out, and that'll give us a lot of flavor. So half an onion per chicken works great. Now we've got our turnips, as I was talking about before. I gotta hit the switch, otherwise you can't see what's going on. Okay, there you go. We've got our turnips in the oven and they look great. They've been in there for about 20 minutes and the pan looks good. So you can see the pan already got some flavor on it, and so do the turnips. So that's cool. Wooden spoon. Wooden spoon. There you go. These guys need that head start. Pan likes to have a little extra flavor on it too, so this is all good. Win-win, we're gonna call that. Okay, so scooch those guys over to the side. Hey, how you doing? Okay, so those guys are over to the side, and there's our chicken right here again. We've stuffed him with the stuffing, with our half an onion in there. And then the next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna put our root vegetables. Now I gotta cut these onions up, so you're gonna have to hang out with me while I do that. Yeah, roasted chicken is great. I find that when you roast chicken, the thing you really wanna do is you wanna get in on the basting. The biggest problem for roasted chicken that I find is that people just put it in the oven and forget about it, and you can't do that. Once the chicken's been in there for a while and you can tell that it's cooked, I don't go by the pound, I don't do any of that stuff. I go in and I take a look at it and see if it's cooked. Pull on the legs, pull on the wings, and you can look up on the internet or from any kind of cooking place what makes a chicken that's cooked. So, I mean, like I say, I pull on the legs, and when the leg can just pull right off, well, it's done. You know, it's pretty simple. But I check it quite often. So that's sort of the most important part. And get a turkey baster and baste that sucker. Once you get it in there for an hour, every 15 minutes. Okay, so what have we got here? We've got carrots. We've got potatoes. Two different kinds of potatoes, but they're both waxy potatoes. So yellow flesh potatoes, white potatoes, not russet potatoes. We've got rosemary and garlic. I'm just gonna put the garlic down on the bottom, and that's gonna help me out with my gravy. Again, just mince it up and it'll just hang around down on the bottom with some onion. Now I've got this onion here, I'm gonna use half of it, and this last little bit of leftover here as well. And I just want little pieces, like that. Slice that sucker thin. Now, like I say, the difference in size is important. You want a variance in size on everything. So we've got smaller pieces of carrot to the bigger pieces of carrot. We've got smaller potatoes, etc. It goes on forever, including the onions and the garlic. That's where we get a range of flavor. We're building flavor here, so you cascade of flavor. All right, now next thing, let's dress this pan. So our turnips are in the bottom. I'm gonna throw carrots all around it. Right? And get some onions in there. And as this cooks, I mean, I'm going to be in here working this around, and the vegetables are going to move. I'm not going to let anything get stuck to the pan. That's very important. That guy's... I don't know what the deal is with people who just put their stuff in the oven and forget about it and figure it's going to be done. I mean, you know, it just doesn't happen that way. The old way of roasting something was on a spit, and it was a rotisserie, and it cooked, rolled over all the time. So when you put something like this together and you stick it in the oven and you forget about it, well, it cooks differently on the bottom than it does on the top. This will all get dried out on the bottom. I mean, it's a nightmare, to be honest. Rosemary, just throw some around there. Throw some on the bird. I mean, you can cut little holes or do all kinds of stuff. You know, people stick the sprig right in there, kind of like that. I mean, you can do whatever you want. I just kind of lay it around on top because it all goes into the gravy. I'm going to baste it all like crazy anyways. It's just going to be all over the place. Now, rosemary is good on chicken. Thyme is really, really strong. So I have a little tiny bit of thyme inside there. Potatoes, and bingo. ready for the oven. Now, like I say, this can sit in the oven for about an hour, 45 minutes before you even need to worry about it. But when you come to it, I mean, don't worry about having a plate nearby. I've got a plate right here. I can throw my vegetables on here, rearrange everything, break loose all of that flavor from the bottom and baste everything with it. And then put it all back in the oven again. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. As long as you know what a chicken looks like when it's cooked, you're in business. Okay, we'll see how this thing works in a bit. Talk to you soon.